Transferable skills.
From Cackle Media, this is Transferable Skills. I'm Noah Michigan, and today's guest is Mara Smith, who joins us and is going to share her story from her career journey of mom of three into tequila entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Mara.
Hi, nice to be here.
I think that most people don't realize that there are such a variety of different tequilas. Can you explain a little bit of the differences?
Yes. And so first I'm going to just explain the basic, there's two categories. One is tequila, that's just called tequila. And that is kind of what people maybe drank when they were younger and had some bad experiences. That only has to be made of 51% blue rubber agave and 49% can be from other sugars that are not blue rubber agave. Then you have 100% agave tequila that has to be made at appellation of origin in regions of Mexico and has to be only made from 100% blue rubber agave. Although you're still allowed to add additives to that, but that's another story we'll get into. And then within that, there are 5 categories. So you have a Blanco, and Blancos, they're usually the clear spirit, but they can go into wood for up to 59 days. You have a Reposado, which is going to be aged from 2 months to a year. You have an Añejo, which is aged 1 year to 3 years, an extra Añejo, which is over 3 years. And then what's called a Joven, which is a blend of a Blanco and a Reposado, or it could be a blend of a Blanco and an Añejo. And there's some other categories. I don't know if they're specifically delineated right now by the CRT, that's the governing body in Mexico, like a Cristalino. That's basically you take an aged expression and you take all the color out by using trickle filtering. But that's in general. Those are the types of categories.
Great breakdown. I have some homework to do. I got to go pick up some bottles. Extra Añejo, I don't think I've ever had. It's going to be on my list. Let's jump back to your career. One thing that I have found a lot of inspiration is hearing people's journeys and their stories and how their career has transitioned to where they're at today. But specifically, we're going to get into some of the skills that you possess. And I'm actually very excited to talk about being a mom of 3 and from your beginning of your career into that. And then perhaps which one was more impressionable on what you do today. Tell me the beginning of your career, where it started and what you were doing.
Yes. So I was on a very linear path. So this is nothing that I kind of ever saw in my future. I studied accounting in undergrad. I got my CPA. I had the big accounting firm internship. Then got my CPA my last year of college. And I do it during school because I knew I was going straight to law school. And then I went to law school. I went to Northwestern. So I came back home, went to Northwestern for law school.
Wildcats.
And then went straight to take the big law firm job. I was just myopically focused on okay, I went to the biggest law firm in Chicago. I knew I had a lot of loans to pay off. So went straight to the, a law firm job and then got great experience, was there for many years. You get thrown in the fire really quickly. You learn a lot on job very, very quickly. And I say there, some of the skills I developed, the attention to detail that you need to have when you're doing contracts and contract law and closings and acquisitions and dispositions. I think that piece is very helpful as far as running a company later. So I definitely would say, and I think it's the detail with also having this higher level strategy as well, because you go into negotiation or whatever. So I think I got a mix of both of those that I thought were helpful. Obviously the accounting background is.
It's probably very helpful with running a business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. But then, I started contemplating starting a family, and I looked around my law firm, and at that time there were no female partners in my entire department. And I was like, oh, I have no role models to see how I could possibly manage large law firm life and having a family. And the option at that time, which I hope has changed since then, but the option then was really you go part-time, but that means you're off the partnership track. And I'd worked really hard to be on partnership track. You don't get the big, fun, sexy deals. You get more routine work, which I didn't want. And you really got paid for part-time, but you're really working more than part-time. So nothing about that seemed super attractive to me or what I want to do. So at that point, I decided to go to the business side, and I went to join the corporate strategy group of McDonald's Corporation. And there, I feel my eyes were open to a whole new world, because before that I was just heads down, this very straight path, conservative path. I always wanted a lot of job security. I think I'm probably the only 6-year-old who my dream job was to be a Supreme Court justice, because I knew you had a job for life. Yeah. So I went to McDonald's Corporation, and there I was starting consumer trends and insights because I was in the business development corporate strategy group. We were looking at like new concepts for the company, ways to do line extensions. And even at that time, they were investing in and acquiring other brands. This time they were invested in Chipotle and some other concepts. So it was really interesting. And I started, it just all of a sudden my entrepreneurial spirit was kind of sparked, like thinking, oh, different ideas and concepts. And how would I run things better? Like either from like a consulting perspective or what kind of company would I want to start? And then nothing goes according to plan. So I became pregnant with my oldest children, who are twins, who just turned 23 yesterday. And so they're all great. But I found myself, I ended up on emergency bed rest. So I was on emergency bed rest for 3.5 months. So my corporate career came to a screeching halt. I had preemie twins, and I made the decision to stay home. It's nothing I ever contemplated or saw in my future. I'm very fortunate that I had that option, and basically became CEO of my home, handling everything, and obviously learned a lot of skills were acquired while home that I think are specifically relevant to startup life. And another child 9.5 years later. So 3 kids. First, talk about like efficiency, managing 3 kids and all their schedules. That requires next level efficiency, which so does running a startup and wearing many hats. A new type of flexibility that I never had before. So when I was just able to just focus on just my work and what I'm going to do and plan everything and how everything's going to work in every day. Well, no day goes according to plan when you have kids. And that is the same when you have a startup brand that you're constantly coming up with like plan B and plan C. Nothing ever goes according to plan. I think multitasking for sure. Listen, I had 2 preemie twins, and I can multitask like the best of them. And that is definitely essential when you're starting companies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably also negotiate, mediation. There's probably a lot of skills that you can. Did your law background set you up better to be a parent? Or did your parent background and experience give you all that you needed in either law or anywhere else in entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Maybe equally informed? I'm not sure.
I feel like the legal background it's more of a hard skill than soft skills because my legal background, I literally do my agreements now. I'm like a fool for a client. So anytime I can save money on any legal fees, or I'll send to my lawyer like already redlined, like every agreement and stuff. So it's definitely very applicable.
Is this make the job for your attorney, for your business, easier or harder because some of the work has already been done, or harder because he's dealing with another lawyer?
I know I'm probably a pain as a client. I'm very particular. I'm not sure if I'm easier. I definitely save more time, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily what they want. But I also think there's like a major important other skill as a parent that I think makes me maybe is helpful in leadership, and that's like empathy. So once you are a caregiver, I feel like you have a different type of empathy level of understanding what's going on in other people's lives than maybe I didn't have when I was younger. Now I come in with more of the perspective. If someone doesn't respond right away to an email, or they don't get back to me, I don't get like all offended or take things personally. I go in with the assumption, I don't know what's going on in their life. I don't know if maybe their kid ended up home sick today and they missed our meeting, or they have a parent that I'm in a sandwich generation now. I have friends who are taking care of their older parents now. So I think I bring in a little bit of a different perspective of just knowing, and maybe it's just having lived a little bit more of life and not being a founder who started this in like my dorm room, that everyone has something going on. And so I'm not going to ever take it like as an affront to me. I'm going to assume that there's something going on in their life and that I just don't know about.
Right. Isn't that just being more mature and adult? You're adulting. You're taking your life experience and you're applying it and seeing that the world doesn't revolve around us. You're just a cog in the wheel. But I think that is true. And we're a sum of all the experiences that we've had. And that is part of the essence of this show too, is that what you do now is because of everything you've done before, professionally speaking, but also personally speaking. So it's a combination of maybe years lived, experiences had, skills gained, and you build this empathy, this ability to recognize that there's another side to every story, as opposed to jumping to conclusions, especially when you don't have all the information. Being able to relate to other people and assume best intentions is the essence of maturity.
Yes. But I think you see that even people, regardless of their age, still, they don't necessarily think that way.
There's always going to be jerks, right? There's always going to be
that, or everyone takes things like they did it to me, they just didn't respond to me, and I just go on. I generally just it has to be pretty egregious for it not to like roll off my back.
That's right. That is a distinguishing difference among many between effective leaders and everyone else. It's not just because you've been working for X number of years. It's that you also possess certain characteristics and traits that qualify you to be in that position. Now, being an entrepreneur says you put yourself in that position, but
Yes.
but the survival and success of a business is not just related to the quality of the product. There's so many other things that go into it that include also effective leadership.
Definitely.
I'm thinking of like effective leadership in the context of being a mom of 3 and, rallying the troops. To me, that's what it feels like. Parenting feels like you're going to battle every day. It feels like that you don't know what the conditions are going to be, the environment, what you're walking into. So you got to be prepared for anything. You think about like even the very, very early days, the whole point of the diaper bag is I need all my resources because I don't know what to expect. Or maybe I do know what to expect.
Right. I think I just always thought about, my job essentially was to raise kind and honest children. That was the job. And right now I feel really proud that at least my young one is still under construction. He's only 13, but my 2 older ones are 23. Like I see them and the people they became, hard workers and just have their heads on straight. I feel like live by the values that I instilled in them. So I can see the success of those efforts.
Man, you just inspired me with a new idea. My wife often will remind our kids or even maybe teachers during certain meetings that we've had that our number one goal is to raise kind children. Skills, capacity, okay, so be it. We'll figure those things out and hope for the best. But the goal is for them to be kind. And I like that you said that. It inspired me to think right now that this show is all about what are the skills that have transferred over. I'm curious to maybe start asking questions like, what are the values that have transferred over? What are the things that you have gleaned from various past experiences, personal and professional, that in the realm of core values, ethics, principles from different organizations or experiences that you've had that inform you or inspire you as an individual? Every so often I get hit with a slap in the face with a big piece of inspiration. I think this is one of those. Thanks.
You're going to start going really deep now.
I might. It is a big piece of inspiration, not just because I'm sensitive in this moment, but because maybe it begs the question, which is more important, your values or your skills? It doesn't have to be binary too, I guess. That's probably the real
It's a very
answer.
interesting. Yeah, I think there's like a whole combination thing. It's like how Guy Raz asks at the end of every, how I built this, what do you think attributed the most to your success? Is it like hard work or timing and luck? And it's kind of this like combination of what does it make it. I'd say hard work has to play into that as well, like a work ethic. It doesn't matter how skilled you are if you do not apply those skills.
Right.
I really don't see how you can do something really well without being willing to put in the work that's required.
Maybe the beauty of that question is that there is no single answer or there's no wrong answer even. Yeah. It has to be a combination of a bunch of those. I'm curious if there are any entrepreneurs out there who have seen success and don't recognize that some of that, it has to be luck too. Or maybe you can look at it from the standpoint of like a stoic perspective of things you can versus those you can't control. And things you cannot control are, for instance, I can't even influence the market at startup, right? You have to be super successful to get to the point where maybe you can, that's maybe the point of the whole S&P is that these are important brands that control the top 500 points that do influence market and health. So the point of that is that I don't think that there's any success story where luck doesn't play into it in some degree. You're a mom of 3, CEO of your small family business. At what point did you start getting inspired by wanting to pursue a new idea in business? Or
yes. So in February of 2020, I'd always thought about starting my own company. I knew it was going to be in food or beverage. I'm a super consumer. I love the category in food and beverage. I like try everything in the better for you segment. And I'd already been contemplating this. And then once I saw that my kids were like in high school and I was like, oh my gosh, 2 of them are going to leave me at the same time. This is the time to get started. So February 2020 is when I incorporated Inspiro Tequila, and impeccable timing before the entire world
Seriously?
shut down and I
Like
couldn't get to Mexico.
1 month before.
Yeah, I know. So it's like crazy. But anyway, the impetus to being tequila was really two things. One, I've been a tequila drinker for years. As we talked about, I discovered everything had additives in it. I did not know that they were using like sweeteners and coloring and glycerin in my tequila and in all the big brands. So I wanted something additive free. The second point that made me really think like there's a big market opportunity, all these women kept telling me they're tequila drinkers. And I just kept thinking, if all these women drink tequila, why do brands not focus on this consumer? I didn't think they talked to her like very authentically. I thought that usually they just dumb down the products. They make it like hot pink or fruity flavored.
Yeah.
And I thought this is a really intelligent, thoughtful consumer who actually would appreciate a quality craft tequila, and who better to talk to her than someone who really knows this consumer. So that's what led me down the road. And then I also saw an opportunity there are not a lot of women in spirits in general and very few in tequila. And I thought, if I'm going to go back into the workforce, can I also do something that's a little more impactful? So in everything based on giving back initiatives and also adding more female perspectives to an industry where there are not a lot of them. So it was important that I had an all female team. So we're distilled, owned, and led by women.
Has that given you a different edge to your brand, a way to get into doors or recognize in a way that you probably don't think you would have otherwise?
I'd say yes and no. It's a double-edged sword there. On the one hand, yes, I think there are some outlets and retailers who appreciate having diverse owned brands. Listen, women are 52% tequila drinkers. We make over 80% of all purchasing decisions. We're going to control 2/3 of all the wealth by 2030. Should we be represented on the shelves in all categories? Probably, if we're like such a main consumer.
Sure.
And control so much of the wallet. And so I appreciate that there are retailers who also think that way and that there should be some diversity on the shelves as far as like ownership. And on the other hand, it's a very traditional industry and traditionally male dominated industry. So earning credibility in this industry is a little more difficult, I'd say, as an outsider and as a woman coming in as someone who hasn't been in the industry for a long time. Even though I did all my due diligence before coming in as a woman, I do get questioned on my qualifications, I think, a lot more than a male founder.
I guess I'm not surprised, but it's still sad.
It is, because I've always been in male dominated industries. Like I started undergrad like in engineering and moved to accounting, economics law. And I always just believed in like a meritocracy and you prove yourself and you work hard. And I was like blind to the fact, like now looking back, I'm like, oh, like I was in very advanced math classes. And now I look back, I'm like, oh, I guess there really weren't very many girls in my math class, but it didn't like occur to me at the time. And this is the first time where it really has hit me like in the face where I'm like, oh, people like question. I get like weird comments. People ask me like, are you involved? Do you know production? Have you been to Mexico? I'm like, did you ask all those like male athletes and celebrities, like how often they've been down for production, if they're running their companies? There's all these guys who have no connection to Mexico who start tequila brands, and no one asks about whether they're qualified or they're involved. Am I involved in my own brand? Yes, I'm very involved. It's my company. And
does that frustrate you or does that fuel you?
Both. I think the part that frustrates me is that I get asked that question from men and women. I think it also fuels me. And okay, if you have to prove myself, I'm going to prove myself. But I do think the frustration part is more that great example, someone went into an account, my head of sales, and she went to sell an account, and the response she got was, is this a suburban mom who wants to get rich? And I said, one, why do we think it's bad if women want to be successful?
Right.
Is that like negative? Would you ask them about the dad? Why is that a negative? If women want to be successful, is that bad? And also, there's so many pieces that bothered me. As I said, most things roll off my back, but that one particularly will stick with me and did fuel me a lot, because I'm like, are you discrediting what a mom does? Is that's not a significant job? Oh, is she just a mom? Is that what you think about your own mom? Does she do anything?
Right. I want to like get my kids when they were younger to bed or figure out the bills and balance sheets. Like, tell you which one's going to be easier.
Exactly. And it's also not appreciating the amount of work and hustle. I said I would like I'd be willing to measure against anyone as far as like how hard I work in this. So I thought this was like an easy button to turn, which I don't. So all of that implies that there's not the same like effort, diligence, or like education or background or everything. It lends like to this whole like very negative
For sure.
stereotype.
And there's a double standard when it comes to ambition is often, especially historically, women who are ambitious are looked down upon or questioned versus men, which are applauded. And it's a standard that I'm happy to see seems to be trending downward, but it still exists to a degree in certain circles, and it's toxic. It's certainly not helpful.
Right. Yeah. And I would say the women I know that are founders, and I have a huge female founder community, most of us feel like we have to be so over prepared in order to be like listened to and taken seriously. Then I would say the amount of work or for like how much research and diligence. I don't know any of these women who I threw out an idea like, hey, I'm just going to start this, and had an idea like everyone goes in like really educated on whatever area or industry. And that's what I did. I read everything I could find on the industry. I became certified by the CRT in Mexico on production and history of tequila. Like,
that's cool.
You go in really well prepared, knowing you're going to be questioned. And I think I go in assuming if I meet another woman who's found like, she probably did a lot of work already.
She's seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
The stay-at-home parent is the ultimate generalist because you have to be balancing and juggling so many different disciplines as opposed to the specialist. Like if you're really good at laundry, okay, you stay in that lane, but that you can't be a parent, especially a stay-at-home parent, who that is your full-time job, and just focus on that one thing. You have to be the generalist that picks up everything, and you probably gain a tremendous amount of skills. I'm curious if one of those skills, or maybe I'm more curious about your ability to manage and lead people, how it's been informed perhaps by managing little people at home.
Yeah, hopefully the other people I manage listen more and listen better.
The truth about kids, and my wife and I say this all the time, is the truth is we want them to be their worst selves at home, right? So
totally,
like you said, back to like, I want to raise kind kids. Like if you're going to lose that at home. If you're going to,
they're going to take everything out on, yes. Oh, completely. And that's what you want. You want them when they go to school, everyone's like, no, they're perfect. They're great. I'm like, okay, great. It's only me.
So
exactly.
But you want your staff, your coworkers, your colleagues behaving as adults, and as somebody whose full-time job was parenting for a while, I assume that there are certain skills or maybe even perspectives that have helped, that you've leveraged, that have been insightful as a people leader.
I think a few things. We talked about empathy. I think the other thing is, and it could be just from my past background, not just parenting, but I give probably really direct feedback. I always look at that as I'm not wasting people's time, and I'm gonna be like, I like that, I don't like that, change that, whatever. I probably don't cushion it as much, but I don't think I raised my kids in the time where it was as much like cushion of everything. I love how you do this, but can you change this? So I'm like, I think I'm pretty direct. I think it was direct with my kids too. But I think part of that is they know like where they're very clear, and I'm super clear. They know, and that's how I lead to like on where I stand on everything. I am clear. We talked about being values driven. I'm clear on this aligns with me. This doesn't. Any one of my kids can recite. I have 2 rules. It doesn't matter how old you are. You'd be 50. As long as I am your mother, I have 2 rules, and they can recite them back to you. And that is no motorcycles and no smoking. And they know exactly where I stand. And I didn't add more onto it. There's other things that I would like them to not probably do, but I'm like, those are the 2 rules because they will actually kill you, and I'm going to stick by those. So I think being like really clear and really direct, and I do the same thing. My team knows. It could be social media. They're like, oh, Mara like this, she won't like this. So I'm like, really, I don't like waver. I'm very decisive. And I think that's how I am with my kids. So they'll know exactly, we're not going to align with this. We don't align with brand. If I don't like the product, we're not going to mix with it. Like, I'm super genuine. I'm transparent and
consistent, it sounds like.
Yes. And I think that's like how I am at home and what I bring to work as well.
From my own perspective, with teenage boys in my house and the relationship that I'm trying to develop with them and their respect for substances like alcohol, and you being a tequila entrepreneur with also now adult, but also younger children. And what was that like being a tequila entrepreneur while raising children, how do you kind of approach that relationship for them?
That's a really interesting question that I've not been asked before. But first of all, I'm going to preface this with my kids actually laugh because I'm not a very big drinker. And when they ask about that, I'm like, how could I drink a lot and also run a company successful? And my friends from high school think it's very ironic because I was the designated driver and that now I'm the one who has an alcohol company. And so they think it's like really ironic that. So what I would say is, yes, I'm not a big drinker. When I do drink though, it's tequila and it's clean. I started enjoying tequila more like when I started appreciating taking time for myself with friends. So I took a lot of time raising kids where I did not go out or see anybody at all. I was just in the thick of it, like 24/7. And when I had my youngest, I suddenly opened my eyes and I had this like younger group of friends as well who would go for girls' nights and girls' trips and things. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a new awakening. And so that's where I started like enjoying myself and going out and having some drinks with them. I don't think my kids see this as like, now mom suddenly is like a drinker. In fact, another funny thing is I have another event tonight. I don't drink at any of our own events. Any event that I'm serving tequila at or talking about tequila, I don't actually drink at. So I'm only drinking when I'm like going out for dinner with my husband or at home having dinner with the family or going out with my friends.
That's really good advice in general because, you know, you're representing the brand. You need to be your best self and you need to be sharp and with it and be able to remember interactions and conversations. So a lot of reasons why that's probably a good idea. Would you say that your kids' perspective on tequila is less a vice and more a kind of lifestyle business?
I think more of a craft. My older son's even been to Mexico with me for production. So I think he saw like how much goes into it, the craft. I think the one thing is my kids have been really spoiled. My older kids, my two oldest just turned 23, so they're drinking age. And the interesting thing is that I don't think they want to drink garbage tequila now. So they're constantly, so if they are going, my daughter's going down to celebrate her birthday with her friends this weekend in the city. She's like, well, I need to bring tequila with me. She's not going to like now.
She's not a cheap date.
Expensive
taste.
Tequila. Totally. So I think they both can appreciate that this is a craft and they like actually, I think she likes to make fun, interesting cocktails. I think they have like a good respect for it.
And appreciation.
Yes. And I think seeing what I'm doing, I think it could be anything. In all honesty, it doesn't really matter that it happens to be tequila. That's what I happen to go into. I think they see their mom trying to build something from scratch and start on her own and creating a network of people, all these things that like they only knew me as a stay-at-home mom. I joke that I became really active on LinkedIn and have like a pretty big LinkedIn following now. And I had no LinkedIn profile at all. None. I didn't have social media. I had no network. I only had a great carpool network. So they saw me like have to really build. And I don't think they have a real judgment or anything about being tequila. I mean, all three of them are actually have been a little wise beyond their years. No one's coming to my house to drink. Like, honestly, I was the last place that anyone in high school or in college, like, I have like cameras everywhere in my house. Like, no one's coming to my house. Everything's laptop and camera. Like, I'm not the party house. We're not the like cool parents at all. So even if I own a tequila company, my kids still do not think I'm cool. And for my youngest, who's 13, I again think it's way more about building something. Like I used to have him watch Shark Tank with me religiously since he was little. And I'd have him calculate the valuations for every company that comes on to ask for money because he's like a math whiz. And I think he just appreciates building. It's not what it is. Like we were in our local grocery store a few years ago when we first launched here and he saw the bottle on the shelf and this hit me more than like any accolades I would get. He's, Mom, you should be so proud of yourself. You're on the shelf like in such a short time and look what you did. And getting that from him, especially when you have so much parent guilt all the time about missing things and dropping the ball all the time and travel now and things like hearing that, it could have been a bag of potato chips. It could have been anything. It doesn't matter if it was tequila. It's just that like he actually recognized that. And literally that's like one of the few stories that like always sticks with me over like any other features.
Yeah. He's proud of you.
Yes.
That's probably the biggest compliment you can ever hope to get.
Yeah, I may not get it again too, so I really appreciated it. I took it in, I kept it, and I'm like, I may not hear this again.
You got to cherish those. It's those moments you realize you've made a positive impression, and your children look up to you. Those fuel you to continue putting forth your best effort. As we wrap up, I'm just curious if you can a little bit about the origins of the name of it, where it comes from. You grew up, I know, in the Chicagoland area, and that's where your business is based. So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. As you mentioned, I founded Inspiro February 2020. I had to find a distillery in Mexico. I just started researching everything. I found a legendary female master distiller, Ana Maria Romero Mina, to bring my vision to life, create the profiles. We finally got to taste it. May of 2021, I was able to get down to Mexico finally after COVID. We launched Illinois because of my home market in May of 2022. So that was our first market. Now we have opened 11 markets here because it's my home market. That's where we have the most presence. So you can find us around town at Jewel Osco and Whole Foods and Binny's. The order and the name. So everything, this is the fun part about building a brand, right? You're thinking about values. You get to think about everything. I got to think about the values. I got to think about how everything's developed from the bottle shape. I wanted something that's sleek and sophisticated, yet easy to hold and pour. So I made it slender in the middle, like everything I was able to give a lot of thought to. And that includes the name. So the name Inspiro is Spanish word for inspired. It is named after my inspirations, my grandmother and my mother, two amazing women who really gave me the confidence to believe I could do anything. My grandmother of blessed memory was the matriarch of our family. She's a Holocaust survivor who went into concentration camp in her early teens and met my grandfather after the war and had my mother in a displaced persons camp in Germany. They came here, no money, no education, no family, and built like an amazing life. My grandmother was definitely my role model. She had math skills, and I always attributed my math acumen to her, even though she had no education past like junior high. But she followed the stock market. Like she was just an inspiration and really ahead of her time, because considering when she was born and raising children, the fact that she was like invested in the stock market. And so she really was a huge inspiration and helped raise me because my mother worked full time. And my mom, who's just a powerhouse, she's a force to be reckoned with. She works ferociously for many causes that she cares a lot about. And I think she really taught me how to have a voice and to use it, because she's not someone who like is in the shadow. She's right out there. And I think that took me like a little more time to be able to do that. I did not like public speaking at all for a very long time, and like to be behind the scenes a little more, just doing the work. But I think I'm finally growing into my own with that. And she definitely exemplifies that.
Tremendous inspiration. For someone who likes to be behind the scenes, I understand why you started a business, publicly facing, have done over 100 podcasts and article interviews. You've certainly gotten over it.
You know, it took a little bit of time. Someone gave me great advice once, and that's like always stuck with me. He just said, no one knows your business as well as you do. And so I used to go in so stressed. Like, what are they going to ask? Am I going to be able to answer? And then I go in thinking, now you're right. No one knows your business as well as you do.
That's right. That gives you the confidence to say that, who are you to question what I'm saying if I believe this to be true in the context of my own business?
And I do have an answer. Like there's nothing they're going to ask that
Right.
you don't already have an answer to.
And I think also we forget that it's okay to say, I'm not sure. Let me look into that.
True.
Well, last question, and then I'll let you go. This question I ask a lot of people: what would you say is a job that you'd be really, really good at? You kind of would love to do, guilty pleasure job. You'd really knock it out of the park, but you're also exceedingly overqualified for. Have you thought of maybe a job or two?
I'm really good at cleaning, and I like to clean, and I like everything to be like cleaned like really well. I'm definitely on the more of the OCD scale, and even everything from researching cleaning products, like finding good cleaning products, what works the best. Like I've been online researching now for a month. What is the best robot vacuum that can go from floor to carpet? Like I like that. I like things to be like super organized. So like I could be a great organizer for someone, but probably not best use of my
but that doesn't matter. That's not the point of the. You don't have to worry about over engineering. Like what is going to be optimal or for my time value.
Because I could go and organize and take and get rid of people's stuff and throw things out and organize and clean things. I would be great at that.
Yeah. I think that's.
I don't know that everybody would appreciate that because I would probably get rid of most of their stuff.
That's okay. You don't need to please everyone. Yeah, like sort of maybe an organizational consultant would be one.
I think I'd be good at training, cleaning people too. Like if I had my own company where I can like train everyone how to clean everything, what to use on the different things, like I would be good at that. That's running that. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know what the job is called yet, but certainly you could be a writer who does reviews of cleaning products and it says, but also organizational consultant would be great. Those are great answers. I love those.
Yeah. I'd love to do reviews on anything. I like all consumer products. I literally have like new stuff that came today. And I have a million snacks. I love being a taste tester and trial person. So I think that'd be a really fun job.
Are blogs done? Are we done with blogs, or is podcast a new blog?
I don't know. I think people still have blogs. I don't happen to probably read them, but I still see them on people's websites.
I'd love to listen to a 10-minute podcast that you do where, this week or today it's I'm reviewing this, or the category is
I
this.
would love
and
that.
Here's the 10 different options and here's what each one represents. That'd be an awesome show.
I would love that. I have good finds. Everyone who wants, they're like, oh, I need this, or I need a gluten-free bar, or I need this or whatever. I'm like, oh, I tried this, and there's this snack, and there's this new candy and a date. I try not to post the things that like I don't like, but there are plenty of things that I've tried. That's the up. I know that order gives me calm, right? I feel joy when my garage is cleaned out and I walk in and everything's orderless.
Do you think that there's ever negative consequences of that to the people around you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I live by the model like toss them or grab. My kids will be like, wait, you threw out our like papers we brought home. I'm like, oh, I just saw them sitting out. And so
they've developed this PTSD as an adult that they can't leave anything out lest it may be discarded.
Yeah, somehow they all do not seem to have that issue. They leave their stuff still everywhere and they do not seem... didn't impact them that much on this.
Have you ever thrown out something that you shouldn't, but you're doing it to make a point? Like, for instance, they left their shoes out, like their basketball shoes that might cost $150, but you decided to make a point. Have you ever done something like that?
No, I can't say I haven't hidden things before.
Oh,
people
I've done
keep
that.
leaving things out on a continuous basis. Like that will definitely happen. For some reason, everything has a place, and I like things having place. And for some reason, no one else sees the same place as I do, and they put things back in some.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand. I put things in the same place. How do you manage to put it somewhere else when it's so obvious?
Yeah. I once hid my kid's scooter in my car for 2 weeks to make a point because they kept leaving it outside. I'm like, someone's going to steal it. At the very least, someone trip over it. But the point, I put it in my car for 2 weeks. He complained that he lost his scooter, and then I gave it back, which I don't know. Did they learn a lesson from that or not? I don't know. But it had a little bit of like schadenfreude, a little joy of like his misery for 2 weeks. Maybe that's sadistic, but I enjoyed it. Mara, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you being on here as a guest.
You.
This has been a fantastic conversation. So thank you for your time and for sharing all of your experience and skills with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to thank Mark Bromberg for recommending Mara as today's guest, and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this episode of Transferable Skills. Remember, the skills you've gained can take you anywhere. Until next time, keep exploring those transferable skills.